Hello, I'm Stephanie. Today I'm going to be guiding you through a floor yoga class. We're going to be working on primarily the lower half and adding in a little bit with our arms as well. I have 2 blocks and a blanket here that I'll be using. It's up to you if you'd like to use them. You just totally can do this without having props, but I do like having a little cushion for my knees. So let's start out today in a comfortable seated position. I'm going to come down to my blanket here. And whatever that looks like for you could be different than what it is for me. What we want to think about is those sits bones grounding you down, and feel that length of your spine all the way through the crown of your head, just lifting you up. If you're feeling you need a little more energy today, maybe place the palms facing up to receive, or if you're needing to feel some groundedness, bring the palms to the face down. And at this point, we'll go ahead and close that gaze. So while here, start to observe and notice the breath. Take an assessment of how you're feeling today in your body. Are you noticing any aches or pain or tension? Just observe and let it all flow by you. We can start to deepen the breath, maybe even feeling those ribs start to expand outward as we inhale. And today I wanted to chat with you about a glimmer, which is opposite of a trigger. So a glimmer is something that brings you joy. It might be something subtle. It could be a hummingbird on your feeder, or observing a bobcat crossing your path while you're on a walk. But are you able to find just a little bit joy in your day by observing those glimmers? It could be even as subtle as a stranger smiling at you, or passing you through to merge into a lane when you're driving. So take a moment here to think of something you've encountered that's brought you joy. And we're going to seal today's practice with that joy with 3 silent ohms. So let's go ahead and bring those hands to heart center, taking a full belly inhale. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. Deep breath in. Exhale, release. Biggest breath yet, fill it up. Exhale, let go of whatever doesn't serve you. And then we can slowly start to blink those eyes open. We're going to work on those shoulders, so let's bring them up into our ears and melt it down your back. So start to pull them forward, those shoulders, up and back. Good. Maybe you alternate one or the other. And just a reminder, everything that I provide is an invitation. If it doesn't feel good to you in your body, don't do it. This is your practice. And then we'll slowly come to stillness, and what we're going to do is feel that chin press on back and just tilt the head over to the side. You could even close the gaze here. Let it be heavy, giving it a nice stretch. If you need more, you could always take a hand and gently place it on top of the head, or just simply stay where you are. Or simply just stay where you are. And let's slowly come back to center. Take a look left and right. And then once again, roll the shoulders up and down the back. Feel that chin press on back and tilt it to the opposite side. Again, if that weight of the hand felt good on this side, feel free to add it here. Let everything start to soften. And we'll come back up to center, maybe look up or down, left or right. Could even do a few U movements with your neck. Excellent. Let's start to drift those hands up to the sky. Once here, we're going to take a hand down to the mat and reach and lengthen upward. So feel that stretch from the side body giving you length as you press this hand into the mat, and then maybe you add the arch. Can you observe both sits bones pressing into the ground? We don't want that outside hip to lift. Good, and then slowly start to round forward. Chest starts to look down, your gaze may look down. Feel the roundness in the spine. And then we'll open, maybe even drift a little bit more open to the ceiling. Just add here some gentle movements. Down and up. Then as you come down this next time, this hand's going to come to the knee. Flip that palm of the opposite hand, scrape up towards the ceiling and find an angle here, mirroring your knee below. Maybe it feels good to play with the neck and the movement. And then we're going to take that hand all the way to the knee, round up the spine, heavy head. Feel those shoulder blades separate. And then we'll release the hands from the knees, palms shine, and come on up. Big breath in here, and we'll drift to the opposite side. Plant that hand on the mat, reach and lengthen up. Feel that side stretch. And then find your lean. We're just starting, so it doesn't need to be big. Press into this hand to get a little more leverage to expand those ribs. And then we're going to add in our movement here. So slowly rotating towards your mat, gaze might look down. Open up the heart, lift. Move at your own pace. Maybe holding or pausing the top or bottom. On this next one, as you start to close off, hand finds the knee, back hand opens up, reaching to the ceiling to start, and then find your angle. Can you soften? And steady the breath. Hand will drift to the knee, round that spine, heavy head. And then release hands from the knees, reach forward, come on up. Once you're up, start to bend the elbows, shine the palms towards the front. Heart is lifting, these are our cactus arms or W. And just alternating here, lifting, lengthening, exhale. And then we're going to add on to this. So once here, let's bring our palms to touch. We're going to come on down through heart center. Interlace those fingers, press it down into your lap. Pull forward, reaching on up. And once you get here, release the hands and have those arms reach as far as they can, all the way to the sides as we come back to heart center. So getting a bit of a flow here, fingers interlace, they press down. Inhale, lengthen you up. At the top, release. And come back to prayer. Last one here, fingers interlace, press it down. Reach forward, lengthen up. Fingers release and come on wide. Good. Once here, let's bring those hands back up overhead, and we're going to open to the side here. So I want to think about my hips facing forward while I'm here, and the twist is happening in the spine. Can you feel the strength of your core here holding you up in this position? And then the hand will drift to the knee, backhand, base of the spine, and you can use it as leverage to maybe twist a little deeper. But we don't want to lose that length. Feel the crown of the head lifting. Maybe the gaze starts to track behind you. Or it could just stay simply where it's at. And then we're going to take that back hand, shine it up and over, just finding a little bit of a stretch like we did earlier, and find your knee. Let's bring both the arms up. Opposite arm comes behind, and right away, check in with the hips. Shift them forward. Feel the power of your strength here in the middle section. And we'll drift it to the knee, opposite hand base of the spine, find your twist. Shoulders soften. Back hand will start to lift on up, and then find your length, a little bit of an arch, before we move into that rounded spine. One more time. Great. Arms lift, and then we'll just release them down to our sides. So we're gonna move into our cat-cow here. So first we'll find our tabletop. I like to use a blanket for my knees, and we're gonna stack our joints. So our wrists are gonna be directly under the shoulders, and our hips are directly under the knees. And I wanna look back and find hip width distance between those knees. If you want, you can always take a block and kind of feel what that's like, how far apart that should be. And then we'll come in and just start to go front to back before we move into our cat-cow. Maybe move and start adding some circles. Any sort of movement is good here. It might feel good to do some barrel rolls with the belly. Just dropping it, coming out in, switch directions. And then we'll slowly find our way back into our stillness here. Feel the ground pressing away from you. And then we're gonna drop our belly, head lifts. Feel those sits bones spread apart. Chin comes to chest, round your spine. So moving at your own pace through your versions of your cat or cow. Good. Then we'll come back into stillness. And what we want to do here is work on those toes a little bit. So I'm going to curl my back toes under, start to walk my hands back towards my body. We'll shift just slightly so you can see. And I'm going to bring the weight back towards the heels. So again, we're going to check in, tuck that tail, and we can bring our hands to heart center or just keep them at our sides. But can we start to soften those toes? This can feel intense, but it's a great stretch. Good, and then just start to bring the weight forward. You can even tap out the feet, release that tension, and we're gonna come back. And this time we'll work on the wrists. So I have my fingers pointing forward, spread nice and wide, and I'm gonna flip them back around towards my body. And then once here, I can start to shift the weight backwards. You're definitely gonna feel something right here. And check in with the toes. Does it feel better to have the toenails on the mat, or do you want a little more stretch? You can curl those toes under like we did earlier. The further you press back, the more you'll feel the stretch. So take a moment here, breathe into it. If you're like me, you're quite tight. I'm on a computer quite often during the day. So these muscles have a lot of tension. And we'll shift that weight forward, and we're just gonna come to fists with our thumb pointing straight forward and press it down, intentionally press into the earth. And then once here, let's start to spread the fingers out, come in so that the wrist is on the mat. So you might need a little bit lighter with your weight here, and you can just wiggle those fingers. Pull them back, move them around. Might feel a little awkward. And then we can release, and we'll just bring our weight back towards our heels here, and we'll just do some circles with those wrists, maybe figure eights. And then we'll come in with those fingers, almost like you're sprinkling water on your friend. Just flick it, maybe faster, maybe slower. Give those fingers spread wide as you do it. Great, maybe a little shake. Ooh, that feels nice. And we'll come into our tabletop. So what I'd like to do next is we're going to extend one of your legs back. So my toes are curled over, my hips are facing forward. I'm pressing through my hands, and we're gonna take our hand up to the sky, so opposite of the leg, and then we'll thread it through. But hover here and hold. And then we're gonna come on up. So threading up the needle, maybe the gaze follows the hand. And on your next one, lift and lengthen, pause here, and then we're gonna thread it through and bring that shoulder to the ground. So a few options here. You could stay right here, pressing through your hand. Maybe this hand reaches forward, or even you might play with lifting of the leg. This will add an extra balance challenge. And I'd like you to really press through this hand and find tension in your chest to help with your stability to hold that leg up. And the leg might not feel good to you in your body, so you can always place it back down. And we're gonna press through it again, lift and lengthen back up. And this time we're gonna reach that hand forward. So see, my pinky is on the mat, my thumb is pointing straight up, and I'm gonna drop my chest. So a great stretch for your back, those lats, those big muscles under our shoulder blades. And then we'll come back in, bring that leg in, maybe shake the hips side to side. I'm gonna switch directions for you. So opposite leg, extend it behind. Be mindful of those hips. They face straight down, and we're gonna bring that opposite hand up and come underneath the belly and reach. So 3 here. And on your third one, pause at the top. Take a big breath in, and then come on in. Finding your shoulder on the ground. So again, options, maybe lengthen this arm, maybe play with lifting of the leg. But can you find tension in that chest? And we'll slowly lower the leg. If it's lifted, press through the hand and bring the opposite hand forward. Pinky on the mat, thumb points up, dropping of the chest. Good. Let's slowly make our way back into our tabletop. So I'm going to face forward here. Add in some movement, whatever that is for you. Circles, maybe weight comes over the wrist, could go back and forth. And we're going to come into a bit of lower leg work here. So I'm going to take that right leg out to the side. Toes are going to point forward and just start to rock front to back. Maybe the toes lift as you come back. And then we'll come back in. I'm going to start to bend the knee and point the toes slightly outward. And I'm doing some hip circles here. So coming around, thinking about big circles. That femur is moving around in that hip socket. And then maybe switch directions. So depending on your body, you might look completely different than mine. The work is in the movement of that hip and the leg. We'll come back to center. Let's extend that leg long. And I'm going to start to walk my hands up towards my body. Once here, let's squeeze our glutes, that back side. Right hand down, left hand can reach up towards the ceiling. Maybe you come a little bit further. And I want to be mindful to take the roundness of my back here. So there's a little tuck of my tail. And then we're just going to reach. This arm goes down towards your waist and come on over. Maybe you start to angle your body. Just alternating here. Really reaching through the fingertips as we add in our movement. Good. And we'll come back on up to stillness. Reach those arms out to the sides, palms shine forward, and then we're gonna round it up, they come to touch, and then come back on in and open. So Feel the roundness of your spine, come down with the gaze, hands come inward and they open. One more here. And then the arms reach out. We're gonna pivot the foot so that the toes point to our side. So here's warrior two. So we're thinking about the hips are opening. And I'm gonna start in with side to side motions. Focusing on the pelvis and the hips here. And then we're gonna come back in, elbow to the knee, and bring this other hand up to the sky. Can you squeeze your glutes while you're here? So this may be a great position for you. You could even take the bicep by the ear. Or if you're feeling like you want to bind, the arm can come around the body. The hip open as we're here. Excellent. Then we'll slowly start to unravel. And we'll come forward, pigeoning that foot. And we're going to take this leg all the way over to the opposite side. So we're coming into our curtsy lunge. So I'm looking back towards my heel. My leg is nice and straight. And then slowly making your way back to your tabletop. Shake it out, add any movement that feels good. And we'll come right in, opposite leg, extend it long. And first, just start with front to back motions. Playing with lifting of the foot if that feels good. Maybe pause or hold if something has a little bit of tension. And then we'll come back and flat back. And we're going to pigeon the toes slightly outward and make those nice circles with the hips. So I like to pull my leg a little bit closer into my body so I can get some movement and bend into that knee. Good. And we'll come back, leg will straighten, hands walk towards our body, and we open up. Bring one hand down, one hand overhead. Feel the stretch. You might feel it in your side body as well as your leg. And then we're going to tick-tock the arms. So reach it forward and come underneath. Maybe the torso moves with the hand. Just going side to side. Good, and we'll come back to center. Let's take those palms, shine them forward, and we're going to close our door. Palms come to touch. Pull into the chest, open it up. So use your breath here. Chest expansion, big breath in, exhale it all out. And we'll come back on in. Once here, pigeon the toes so they face to the side, and we're going to go side to side motion. Get that movement. And a few cracks and pops along the way. Come into stillness, elbow finds the knee, lift and lengthen up with that hand. Check in with your lower half. Can you find your glutes and squeeze them? Maybe the bicep by the ear feels good here for you. I'm using my elbow to open my hip. Nice, easy breath. And we'll start to come back on out. Once here, let's bring those palms to the mat, and that leg is going to come all the way to the opposite side. Look back at that heel for your curtsy lunge. Beautiful. Let's bring the knee back to meet the other, and we're going to bring the toes to touch and knees can go wide. This is our extended child's pose. If you want traditional, you can bring the knees closed. So I'm just going to reach and lengthen my arms out. My forehead might find the mat. We're looking for length in the spine. Sending the weight towards the heels. and just start to soften. We're gonna add in a little side body stretch. So I'm gonna walk my hands over to one side. I'm gonna pick up my chest and then press the weight back towards the heels. This inside arm, I'm gonna press it down so it's leveled off. Slowly start to come back through center, moving to your opposite side here. I like to lift the chest and press the weight back. Inside arm drop slightly here, heavy head. Good, back through to center. And once here, maybe come onto your forearms or on the floor. Head can drop and bend the elbows, palms face up, and come so that the hands are at the neck here. I'm getting a stretch in the back side of my arm. And we'll slowly lengthen the arms out, press on up. Good. Now next I'm going to work with my blocks, so if you have some, feel free to grab it. You necessarily don't need them, but they do help sometimes get into the postures a little bit differently. So I'm going to come into my table, hands are stacked on top of my blocks, and you can use the different heights here. And I want to bring my right leg forward. So first I'm going to start to bring the foot forward and start to feel the stretch in this back leg. My hips are squaring to the front of the room. And then we'll slowly start to add in some movement. So as I come back, I might lift my toes, and I come forward and I lift my heart. So it's easy here. As you come forward, sometimes we just want to round out. But I like to find a little bit more of that chest expansion. We sit in that position of our shoulders roll forward so much during the day. So this helps remind us to have that open heart. Good. And as you come back this next time, maybe switch the blocks, come in a little bit closer to your body. I like to go a little higher, and I want to pull this right hip back, left hip forward. My toes are pointing to the ceiling. Hopefully you'll feel something. If you need more, you always can lean more forward. But this can be quite an intense stretch for most of us. Settle into your breath. And we'll bring that weight forward. Once here, I'm going to frame the foot with the blocks, left hand down, and right hand's going to drift to the sky. So just have a bit of a rotation here. The gaze could be up or maybe just neutral. If you want a little bit more work, you can curl that back toe under and lift the knee. Squeeze your glutes wherever you are. And then we're going to take that arm and come forward and reach and lengthen. Feel the hips point down. The gaze might be pointing down as well. And then we'll come back up with the hand. Knee can drop. Find your block. Good. And then we'll bring that knee to meet the other and just wiggle it out. We'll start in left side. Let's bring that foot forward. First, just find a pause here, pressing your hips to the front of the room. Getting a nice stretch in this opposite leg. And then we'll start to add in our movement. Weight goes back, toes lift, come forward, heart lifts. Just add in that rocking motion, front to back. And then as you bring the weight back again this time, frame the knee with the blocks, lift your toes. This time this extended leg, this hip pulls back, other hip pulls forward. Feel the stretch. Want the shoulder blades to be pressing together, so we have tension here. Good, and we'll come on forward, frame the foot with the blocks. This time the left hand's gonna drift on up. Find your twist. Squeeze your glutes. And if you're looking for more of a challenge, curl the back toe under. Your choice here, you can always come back to the knee if you need. And then we're gonna slowly start reaching that arm forward. Feel the hips face forward. And then we'll come and lift it back to the sky. Take a big breath here. Sink that knee down. Find your blocks. And find your tabletop. So options here if you want to take a child's pose. You can do traditional with knees together or bring the knees wide. We're just going to take a moment to connect back to our breath. If your body is needing a little bit more of a challenge, you can always plant those hands, curl back toes under, and find your down dog. Either is good. We're just working on the breath. Observe and notice what your body needs. There might be a variation of both. See if you can slow down your breath. And we'll start to press on up. We'll spin those legs around and we're going to come into a boat pose. So knees are pointing up, feet are hip width distance apart. We want to feel that chest lifting up. And we'll slowly start to lift the toes. You're on your heels and maybe you start to lift the legs. We want to be mindful that this chest is lifting up. We don't want to be collapsing. So flat back. Toes might start to spread apart. Maybe you go to straight legs or arms at your sides. You can always advance or come back, whatever feels good. You might start to feel a little tremble or shake. My body's doing the same. One more deep breath here. Fill it up. And then slowly with control, can you lower all the way down to the mat? Once you get there, let's plant the feet. Tuck that tail so our back is nice and flat on the mat, and we can just go side to side. So little windshield wipers. They can be as big or small as you want. Good, we're gonna come into our bridge. So feet are planted. You may reach back and see if you can graze your heel, just find some space. And if you have your block, this is a great way to get some feedback. So I like to put it between my thighs. You have a pillow, that would work as well. And squeeze into it. You can feel those muscles turn on and then slowly start to peel the back up off the mat. Once here, I'm squeezing my glutes. My chin is growing closer to my chest and I'm pressing my knees into the block. And breathing here. Press through the bottoms of the feet. And then we'll slowly lower down each vertebrae until we're back on the mat. You can remove your block and take some windshield wipers, or if it feels better to your back, hug the knees in and just go side to side. We're just looking for a little release in the back. We're going to get a little bit more of a hip stretch here, so plant those feet once again. Take the right foot up onto the left knee, and you're going to press this leg away from your body. Your back is nice and flat on the ground. So here's a figure four. If you want to go further in your figure four, you can bring your hands underneath the thigh of that left leg. Start to pull the leg towards you while pressing the knee away from you. And see what changes if you have flat feet. Feel the calves activate. You might feel good to straighten the leg or not. Maybe movement might feel good. And our bodies are smart. They like to go to the easiest place of work. Our bodies are smart. They like to go to the easiest thing. So what changes for you if you pull the leg just a few inches over to the left? Can you find a little bit difference in the stretch? I can in my right glute. Excellent. We're slowly going to release the hands, but keep the legs where they are. Maybe the hands find cactus, and we're going to tip the legs over to the left. The toes might touch. They may not. You might just be here. But we're looking for a bit of a twist within the torso here. I'm going to let my shoulders soften. Might even close my gaze here. Become heavy. Slow down the breath. On your next exhale, slowly come back into center. We're going to release the legs. And again, find windshield wipers. Or hug the knees into the chest and go side to side. Moving in, opposite side. Knees point straight up. Opposite leg comes onto that top part of the thigh. So setting up here, pressing the knee away from you. Feel that in your hip. If you'd like to go further, again, let's grab behind that thigh. Keep those toes nice and active. Play with if extending of that leg feels good in your body or not. And try that little movement, pulling the leg over to the right this time, just an inch or two. Find a nice, easy breath. And then we'll slowly start to release the hands, legs stay where they are, and start to move towards the opposite side. I like to find my cactus arms here. And note that the foot may not come to the floor on this side, and that's perfectly okay. Soften your gaze. Good, and we'll slowly start coming back to center. Let's bring both of those knees into the chest and just rock side to side. We'll take those hands, bring them between the knees, maybe grab the bottoms of the feet or the shins, or maybe you're gonna hold the knees, finding your happy baby. So this is one of my favorite postures to play. You could straighten the legs, add some movement here. Listen to your body. What does it need? Good. And then we'll slowly come back to center. Bring the feet up to the sky, point the toes, flex the feet, point and flex. And then we'll slowly lower those legs down onto the mat. Once you're, find your version of Shavasana. Maybe the feet come as wide as the mat, arms can come out to your sides, palms facing up. If those hips need a little more stretch, you can always bring the soles of the feet to touch and knees can go wide. This is a great hip opener. You can even put blocks underneath those knees if you need a little assist. So find your version of Shavasana, and once there, start to settle. Let the gaze close. Can you release any tension you're carrying between the eyes? Feel the shoulders supported by the ground. The belly rising and falling with the breath. The hips are heavy. No more work to do. Feel your legs soften. It might even feel good to open and close the mouth. Even taking a big yawn. See if you can release anything in that jaw. And slowly start to come back to this space, back to this room. Invite in whatever movement feels good in your body. Maybe it's the wiggling of the fingertips and the tippy toes. Even shaking that head side to side. And then start to roll to either side here, finding the fetal position, taking a breath or two. And when you're ready, no rush to get there. You can start to press on up, finding a comfortable seat. Feeling those sits bones supporting you on the ground. The lengthening of the spine all the way through the crown of the head. We'll bring our hands to heart center, maybe even tuck the chin slightly. Coming back to your intention you set for today's class. We're going to seal practice together with 3 silent Oms. Take a full breath in, fill up. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Big breath in. Big breath out. Fill up with positivity. Exhale anything that doesn't serve you. Be well, be blessed, be loved. Bow forward and say, Namaste.